What would you do if your family's rights, safety, and future were suddenly at risk? As a married gay man, a father to a transgender son, and someone whose brother, when he was alive, depended upon Medicaid and Social Security and other social platforms like that, I've thought about this deeply. Today, I want to talk about these issues and some of the things that we can do and how we can get through this. I believe that any challenge is simply a stepping stone to show us who we truly are and what is truly possible. I truly believe that there is no other human here on this earth that can dictate what is and what is not possible for any of us. That does not mean that anything is going to be easy or fun or anything of that nature, but even think of perhaps the story of Nelson Mandela and how he was jailed for so long and now is free and is even more impactful than he was before. And I want to make sure that when I'm in this video, this is not about fear, really. It's about action, love, and resilience and what we can do. Just to give you an idea of where I am, I'm a married gay man. My son is transgender. There's also another transgender person in my personal home. My brother depended solely on Medicaid, Social Security, and other platforms like that. He had to have 24/7 care. My new grandson was born through IVF, and I live in the Deep South in a very red state. So just to give you an idea of where I am and what's important to me, I think you can probably take a wild guess, but, maybe not. But I want to just talk about some of my own personal story. I remember when marriage equality had gone before the Supreme Court, and I think that many of us in the gay community were really actually surprised at how smoothly and how quickly it went through. It almost made us, or at least made me question if the celebration of Pride was really all that much more important still, because we had achieved, I think, quicker than we imagined, what we were striving for. And I think now that we see that Pride is absolutely incredibly important, and now more than ever, the queer community needs to really step together. And what others who are against somebody who is not in the heteronormative field have done is they've used the old tactic of turning everybody against each other. They have done that in all communities. Now we're against people who are immigrants into this country. We're against people who are of color. We're against people who are transgender and queer in any other way. And so that has even bled over into the queer community, where there's even now inner fights in there. And there always has kind of been, but it's even stronger now. So it's so important for all of us to let go of all these labels and realize that we're all human beings, that all of us have a common goal, common purpose. We just want to experience joy. We just want to have love, and we just want to be safe, and we want our families to be safe and taken care of. The other thing would really be about my own transgender son. He really went through a whole process of, first coming out as bi, and then coming out as queer, and then coming out as transgender. And that's just been a very long progression. And the when you say the word transgender, that can mean all kinds of things as to what you might need to do for yourself. Even for some people, just admitting that they are is so very powerful. And I myself, I'm a cisgender male, but I have played with the idea of even referring to myself as they, because I can see the feminine aspects of myself that come out. And I don't think that that is any less. I think that men who are willing and able to really look at their own feminine aspects are even stronger as men. Now, for my little brother who had to have special needs, he passed away about a month ago, and he had to have 24/7 care. And I absolutely depended upon Medicaid and Social Security. And believe me, I had to fight for him. He was taken off of Medicaid twice while I had him, and I had to fight and spend at one time way over $10,000 just to get him back on to something that was rightfully his, but I had to fight for it. And amazingly, through that story of fighting for his care, I've since been told by the attorney that helped me that what we did, the roadmap that we created in the state of Alabama, has helped other people to where they don't have to work quite as hard to get the rights that they need. So that to me is so beautiful, that is like a gift that my brother and I gave to other people. And so it actually, I've learned that there are gifts in every challenge. And so that's definitely a gift. And if we hadn't gone through that, how many people would perhaps be affected in a negative way, as far as, how they were able to navigate that, and without seeing that it is possible, without the wheels already being greased. Because believe me, the state of Alabama fought it tooth and nail, even though there was very clear federal guidelines and policies that they had to adhere to. It still took months, and it still took a lot of money to get it done. Something that, so trust. But so that's really, I think, a wonderful thing to have been told that his story, number one, has brought so many things for people. And also, number two, just the efforts that we went through have made it easier for others who might be facing something similar. So let's take a look at what we can do about this, right? So the first thing is really about legal strategies. If you are, like me, in a marriage that's based upon marriage equality, it's really important to do what you can do. And that's like updating wills, powers of attorney, healthcare directives. If you are a parent, perhaps like my transgender son, looking at adoption or second parent rights, or, and even looking at what kind of legal protections are there for transgender minors to ensure their access to healthcare. Perhaps even looking at, this is terrible, but perhaps looking at moving to another state where those things are not going to be a problem. Something I've been kind of wondering myself is, I'm pretty sure marriage equality will be overturned because Clarence Thomas has already talked about it. Did he in the Supreme Court that's going to be one of their next targets to go for? Sorry, my voice seems to be giving out a little bit right here, but I think this is a really important topic to talk about. So I really believe that it will, but I wonder if it will be retroactive. If it will be taking away the rights of those who already have marriage based upon marriage equality. Because if those marriages are taken away, then what happens about the divorces that happened after the marriages? I mean, so I really feel like those that already are married are probably going to be okay, but who knows? Absolutely, who knows what's going to happen. But it is very important to take the legal actions that you can at this point. If anybody wants to message me, I will private message you some attorneys that I know that are very LGBTQIA plus friendly, because I think it is very important, even though all attorneys, go through the same process and all attorneys are professionals. I think it is important to have someone who holds your rights as dear as you hold them, so that they will go above and beyond. Because there's doing your job, and then there's being passionate about doing your job and making sure to go the extra step. So I'm just going to say that. So if you'd like to reach out to me, I'm more than happy to. I just don't feel like I can do that on this channel, because you're not supposed to, no legal advices, but blah, 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 blah. And I'm not an attorney, just full disclosure. Maybe I'm supposed to say this is for entertainment purposes only, but this is not very entertaining. Anyway, the next thing we can do is really about creating those safe spaces. And it's about being part of the solution. Sometimes you have to do what you need to do for yourself. For me, sometimes that is about simply pulling back, going into my private moments, uh, being alone, meditating, that kind of thing. But it also can be about finding community. I'm very, very, very fortunate that I have some very good friends and family that I can go to. And I'm on the board of the Rocket City Pride Board, which there's some things that have happened this year. But it's really important, and and I'm doing what I can to help the LGBTQIA plus community to come together, to let go of all this diversion that we have. It's just so important that we come together, that we are strong together, and that we are not alone in this. And we understand that even if we don't necessarily like each other, or we misinterpret things that have happened as being against you personally, it is all about us supporting each other. And I want to support everyone in the LGBTQIA plus community. It's important to me. But when you are a hurt person, a lot of times you interpret things that happen as something against you, and that is not necessarily true. So I'm just going to say that. But anyway, it is important to find safe spaces. For me, a lot of times that is just with my yoga, or with my working out, or with my walking in nature. But it's also with the friends and family that I'm very blessed to have. But it's also important to be part of the change of creating groups and community and networks. That you can't sit there and complain that there's no place for you to go, no place to feel safe, if you are not part of that process. It's not up to someone else to necessarily make you safe or bring you into community. That's as much your responsibility to create community and safety for yourself and others as it is for them for you. If you're asking who is making me safe and who is creating community for me, it's also time for you to ask yourself, who am I making safe, and who am I creating community for? Because if you believe it's somebody else's responsibility for you, that also means it's your responsibility for yourself and others. All right, said enough said there. The next one is, for me, spiritual strength. And that would be divine support. I know for me personally, I work with the angels. It's however it works for you. I would ask Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael to me is the protector, and I would ask him to stand guard over our families, to protect our homes, our hearts, our rights, to fill us with courage to face anything that comes with love and strength. And I would, another one would be Archangel Gabriel, helping us to find our voice, to speak up for our families and communities, and to create some perhaps affirmations for yourself, such as, I am safe, my family is strong, and love will prevail. Because when you repeat these things to yourself, that is what your brain will understand as truth, and that will be the reality that you live in. If you live in a reality where everything is fear, then you will constantly be making choices from fear. And very rarely, if ever, do choices made in fear in the long run serve you. Very, very rarely. We have to stand in the space of love and the space of strength. We can't always be loud in that. Sometimes, you can be strong in love, but you have to retreat back into your own space. But it's really that internal work of working on yourself and helping your brain to recognize the parts where you are strong, the parts where you do have agency. Because if you are convinced that you don't have agency and you don't have empowerment, then you have no tools to work with, and you simply are going to be buffeted around by the winds of whatever happens. In Buddhist thought, the idea of hell is really to have lost all empowerment. And so the work of Byron Katie is really interesting because it's a simple set of questions. And one of the most impactful of them is if you sit with the question of, is it true? So if you really truly believe that you are without power or without agency and that everything is out to get you, it would be really impactful if you sat with the idea of, is it true? But look up Byron Katie on YouTube. Lots of things there, and I've even written a book about it on my Amazon book. You can look up Pete Casaboon. I've written a book on Byron Katie's work. But if you look up her work, that's amazing. If you will really go through it, what can happen for you? Because once you realize that most of that is just a voice that you've heard, and beliefs are simply thoughts that we keep thinking. So as we think new thoughts, we can have new beliefs. And once we have new beliefs, we live in a completely different reality with different choices and different things that are available to us. So I would really call all of us to be a force for change. This is really kind of a call to action to myself as others. Speak up, educate, advocate. If we stand together, we can make a difference. It's not about being the person out there and necessarily in the front lines if you're not able to, but we all have the opportunity. We all have a chance to talk from love and from hope. And no matter how uncertain the future feels, remember our love, our families, and our faith in each other are unshakable if we will allow them to be. So this is really a call out to everyone who perhaps is feeling fearful about what's coming up, especially my LGBTQIA plus siblings, but also to everyone else, just to the whole world. Because I have a feeling that a lot of people are starting to understand what we're about to go through, because, oh my goodness, we've already been through this. But I don't know that everybody understands what we're about to go through. And so I know for myself, I have gone through that sense of shock and mourning over the excitement of what I thought would be with Kamala Harris in office. And I've decided that, no, I'm not going to be weak. And no other person, there's no person on this earth, there's no other human being that is going to tell me who I am and is going to be able to have a lasting effect in my life. That is my choice to make. And no one can take that away from me. And if you decide the same, no one can take it away from you. I want love and empowerment and joy and abundance for every single person on this earth. And I know that that is possible. That is where I live from. So I hope that you will subscribe to my channel. I hope that you will like this video. I hope that you will comment. And let's come together in community. And I'm working on creating content that will help us to do that in the way that I understand empowerment. So that is going to be like through tantric teachings and Buddhist teachings and with the angels and things that may be kind of way out there for people. And so I'd love it if everybody understood, but it's okay if everybody doesn't, because they're not gonna. But anyway, until later, love, peace, and release.